What am I going to talk about today? What is it going to be all about? Nobody knows, not even me. I have no idea, ever, what's going to come out of my mouth until it comes out. That sounds dangerous, doesn't it? It isn't really, though, because you can just delete it whenever you feel like it. Doesn't matter if I say the most absurd, horrendous, offensive nonsense in the world. I can just make sure that I'm the only person that ever hears it. In saying that, I did accidentally upload a video recently, and 2 people saw it before I realized what I had done. I was just quickly uploading it on private to decide if I wanted to share it with the world later, but because I've recently been experimenting with those shorts, and when I was uploading those, they were set to public. That was like my default. So this video went straight out into the world without my knowledge for about 20 minutes. And had a moment where I was like, I really can't afford to do that if this channel was any bigger, because that would have been seen by a whole bunch of people. And then, you know, my unfiltered, uncensored self would have been out there. And I'm like, wait a minute, isn't that what I'm supposed to be doing? Like, and then I went through this whole thing where I'm like, I've got to remove even more layers of filter and stuff and get more in touch with like who I really am more publicly. But you know, it's a full circle moment, because I've been through this huge journey. I started this video diary not looking for subscribers or anything. It was just an exercise for me to express myself, and I had no filter at all at the start, and it caused all kinds of crazy problems that you never would have possibly imagined. Like, just you know, there's 3 people watching the show and it's me probably, and like my friend in the US, and every now and then some random, you know, like, or it's actually, I know who it is. It was me, my friend in the US, and the person that got offended. That's who the 3 people are. And yeah, like, when you're just expressing your pure, unfiltered thoughts, especially when, you know, you're not really expecting anybody else to watch it, and you're just like letting shit off your chest. It was like probably something that I shouldn't have been publishing at all, but I don't know, man. I had this whole thing where I was like, I wish the world could be more authentic and everybody could just be themselves, and I was really passionate about that. And then I guess reality just kicks my ass, like it kicks everybody's ass. You just have these idealistic visions for the world, like this utopian society where everybody can just express what they're feeling inside, and everybody else just welcomes it with open arms, because everybody's dealing with their own issues and they're not reacting to one another. But that's not the world that we live in, is it? So that's not what you get. So we have to, there actually is a bit of an art to this tiptoeing around each other's stuff, and like making sure that you don't trigger off a whole bunch of stuff unnecessarily that then creates more emotional work for yourself. Like, just try to leave people alone. Just try to be very gentle. I've noticed it as well on Facebook, because I've become more and more vocal, slowly but surely, on Facebook, expressing my thoughts and feelings in the written word, which I find I have a different voice when I write. It's more direct, it's more thoughtful, but I think that's just because you have a backspace button. Whereas when I'm speaking like this, it's once it's come out of my mouth, it's come out of my mouth, and I don't edit these videos. Maybe that's something that I could change so that I could make things easier for myself with the spoken word as well. But yeah, as I've been expressing myself more on Facebook, I've noticed that it's easier to agree with people than disagree with people, which sounds obvious, but I want to elaborate a little bit on that. I feel like when I first started speaking up on Facebook, I was kind of rowing against the current all the time. I was looking for things that I disagree with, and I was offering an alternative viewpoint for people to contemplate. And you know, that's, again, you've got that idealistic view in your head, this vision of like, oh yes, I will show people a different way to think about things so that they can have a more open mind and, you know, see both sides of the coin or something like that. And then you actually start to engage with people, and turns out nobody wants to hear a contradicting opinion about what they're engaged with on social media. They want to just hear, yeah, I agree with you, let's all form a community together around this ideology, which is cool too. So what I realized is, like, instead of looking for stuff to propose an alternative possibility, I look for stuff that I myself already have some alignment with. I'm like, that's a nice ideology. What can I contribute to add to that? And then as I started to approach social media with that kind of intention, I started to notice that I can still slip in a little bit of alternative ideas and like different ways to look at the same picture. But as long as I do like the compliment sandwich thing, it's not my idea at all, not an original or unique idea. But if you haven't heard of the compliment sandwich, it's basically you say something nice, you say what you really want to say, and then you say something nice again. So basically you soften people up a little bit. They're a little bit more open because they're like, oh, he's a kind, good person. And then you say some stuff that they might not necessarily want to hear, but then you quickly hit that bottom of the sandwich and give them some more affirmation and validation about like where they're at and like whatever their ideology is, and sort of agree again. And I found that's been quite effective in dealing with people. And another thing that I feel when I do things like that is I don't really feel it so much anymore, but I went through a stage where I'm like, is this manipulation? How weird is it that we all sort of tiptoe around each other, and it is kind of a manipulation of each other and ourselves to express things in a way that doesn't upset anybody and keeps us out of trouble. Like, it's just this weird thing, and I think that's why I got so passionate about authenticity and like just everybody getting to express themselves and being fully received and stuff. But you can't just go from like being wherever the hell you are in the world with whoever you have around you to utopia, utopia is a loaded term in itself, but like just a place where you're received fully and wholeheartedly and you're not triggering anyone and everything's fantastic. Like, you've got to go through these stages and you've got to deal with the reality that you're actually soaking in the present moment. I can't just snap my fingers and be there as much as I would like to. I can definitely do that in my internal world, but it takes time for, the external reality to match that. And part of that process, I think, is learning these lessons and figuring out, like, how do I slowly and gently become more authentic and more truthful and express what I really have inside of myself without distorting that, and maybe there is a way for me to express exactly what I'm feeling inside and be totally authentic and not trigger reactions out of people. And I think what I described I'm doing with the Facebook comments and like engaging in conversations there is the beginning of that. Like, I've had that first realization, like the compliment sandwich thing, where I'm like, let's not paddle against the stream all the time. Let's find a stream that's going in the roughly in the direction that we want to go, and sort of like just cruise down that stream and say g'day to a few people that are heading in the same direction as us, and maybe offer them some information about the other possible streams that you may have been down. Like, we don't have to be disagreeing and arguing and engaging in all kinds of unnecessary conflict with one another just to have different kinds of experiences and viewpoints that might be valuable for each other as well. Like, I don't think I articulated that very well, but the moral of the story is I want to be more myself, and I keep seeing myself get in the way of that. And it's been a lifelong journey of learning how to express all of who I am to the world and be fully received. And I guess if I wrapped up all the stuff that I said in this whole video, the lesson is that it's not up to the world to receive me. It's about me learning how to express myself fully in the world as it is. Like, the world doesn't have to change to meet my expectations of how I should be received. I need to learn how to be myself fully in the world as it is fully. If you get anything out of these videos, please share them with anybody else you know who may benefit. Anybody who's having similar thoughts and feelings. They might just they might be rolling down that same stream. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Click the like button for me so I know what kind of content you want to see more of. And check out kylives.com if you want to see more in-depth stuff, some interviews, some documentaries, how to change your life, all the good things, And I'll see you again very shortly.